going to see it out a few times. But first, I want to say, get out and vote if you haven't done your due diligence, your civic duty. Get out and vote. I have an amazing panel tonight. It's two of them, but the two of them make up about 40 people. I can tell you that when you hear from them tonight. Get out and vote. I was on a lot of calls today, like Dr. Dyer, and I'm very disappointed of people downplaying what's going on in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
A man was shot, a black man was shot, and he had a knife in his hand. You didn't have to kill that brother like that. L.A., okay, I know they just won the World Series, but come on. I mean, come on, guys. And I'm not talking about my panelists, but America's like downplaying it like black men are at it again. I'm just, wow, we just can't seem to remove ourselves from a negative stigma, systematic thing. So I just want to say, black men do lean in, and we're going to show y'all that tonight. Without further ado, we're going to have a lot of great things, a lot of great discussions, because we know we got to vote to get 45 the hell up out of here. I'm going to be very clear. Normally don't endorse candidates on my show, but he has to go. I'm 52 years old in the next 3 months, and this is the most important election of my life. Everybody's life. We can't go another 4 years like this. So with that being said, I would like to introduce my brother, already a best-selling author. He is I might get this wrong, he's the chairman of the Black Chesapeake, but he's a contributing author of When Men Lean In, We All Win. And I like to turn it over to my good brother, my good friend, Vincent Leggett. Vincent, take us away. Tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and then tell us about your chapter a little bit, the name of it.
Well, thank you, Dr. Wade. It's always a privilege to be with esteemed persons like yourself and Dr. Dyer, just having a little fireside chat. I like to kind of characterize these because we're at a comfort level. The flames are burning hot in our soul, in our mind, and in our communities. But we're here to still turn it up a little bit higher. And when I say turn it up, I mean leaning in. This book, When Black Men Lean In, We All Win, is a book about empowerment, about education and representation and advocacy and revitalization. But not just physical revitalization, but spiritual revitalization. As you indicated, I am the founder and president of the Blacks of the Chesapeake. This is a nonprofit foundation that's dedicated to sharing the achievement of men and women in the seafood processing and maritime industry throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. We write books, documentary films, school curriculum, public programming to tell the story about men and women whose lives have been shaped by the Chesapeake Bay, the largest estuary. And I know it's a fancy word for some of our viewing audiences, but estuary is where salt water and fresh water come together. And the Chesapeake Bay is the largest estuary in the United States, and African-American men and women have been integral to the prosperity of these industries. And in closing, what I would like to say for this first opening salvo is that my title in the book is entitled Black Families Matter, Calling Men into Action During Troubled Times. Mm-hmm. As we look at the pandemic, as we look at the assault on African-American men, women, children, and families, we have to emphasize that families do matter. And that's one of the things that I long for as a kid growing up in East Baltimore. I consider myself a country boy from East Baltimore. Once people stop laughing and saying there ain't nothing country in East Baltimore, I'll tell them that my parents hailed from the Carolinas. My mom from the greater Rocky Mountain area, my dad from below. I'll tell you more about how just getting out of the asphalt and concrete of the city to get on the bay, to get on the farm. It's a lot of kids, some adults, that have never walked on a dirt path or stuck in a mud puddle, and I still enjoy both. Thank you, Doc.
Hey, look, I appreciate you. I'm up here. Let me just go to the table of contents and tell y'all what page you're on. Vincent Leggett. Vince, you are on the new, as we had to republish this baby here. 45, page 45. So we go to page 45. I just want to show you, I'm a live guy. Go to Dr. Dyer here in a second. But page 45, y'all bear with me, y'all. That's what happens when you go out on date night with the wife and come right back and go on the show.
We need those date nights. If we don't get those date nights, we won't have a show. I don't care what you say.
Yeah. And look, Vincent Leggett actually page 39, page 39. And he's amazing. He's amazing, man. I mean, before we go over to Dr. Dyer, when I came to Annapolis, I was told to get connected with a few people, and Vincent Leggett was one of them. I've learned so much from you, brother. We're going to dive into that Blacks of the Chesapeake, because we're not just going to talk about when black men lean in, because we leaning in with Blacks of the Chesapeake, with all that good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, that's listening to the show, shout out to you. Share the broadcast. Give us some hearts. I want to thank Brother Wesley Webb. Things in my world should be reciprocal. If I help you, help me. I ain't talking about cash. That'd be good too, but just introduce us to some great people in your circle. I met this brother about a week ago. He put me on his show, and it was amazing. Dr. Dyer and I was on the phone the other day for 2 hours. Man, that was one of the best. I'm 52. I'll be 50. I keep saying I'm 52 in a few months. But that was one of the best 2-hour conversations I had in my life. Give me some likes, give me some hearts, share the broadcast. Without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Dyer. He's a brilliant man. I take back what I said, because we won't have to go over a little 30 minutes tonight. But Dr. Dyer, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do for a living.
So, it's a long road to get to being here, from being traumatized as a child, being a black boy, gone through molestation, did my service in the military with operations, served all around the world. I'm a practicing Buddhist monk. I've written 6 books. I've gone from the child that probably was not able to do because I was all over the place to doing so many things. I teach emotional education with neuroscience. I've been an international Hall of Fame martial artist for over 40 years. I've been teaching the art. One of the things I incorporate, I work with athletes on an emotional level and a physical level. I've worked in the Olympic Training Center. I teach hand-to-hand combat, I teach gun, knife, positioning to dedicated servicemen and women and people who protect the streets. I love this country, and I love being what I do for people who go from A to B to want to live a whole life. I've been one of the top naturopathic doctors in New York, recognized in the International Health Organization. I've worked with the UN as a UN ambassador. I am also the United States Director of International Alliance with the Federation of Association of Advancement of Visible Minorities. So we're in over 32 countries. We're the 5th largest nonprofit NGO that sits at the UN table around the world. That is just a sum. I'm a dad. I have 9 kids, 7 beautiful daughters, 2 beautiful sons. I have 7 grandchildren, 1 on the way, and I'm 53.
Amen. Look, Dr. Dyer, you are absolutely amazing. You touched on so many things. I was on your show today. Thank you for giving Joe A. Moore Sr. a platform. I mean, brothers and sisters, here's a man that hears a great cause, and he go to work right away.
Right.
Just met him a week ago, and he's had half of the brothers of One Man Lean In on the project. So he had to remind me today, because I was booking people all the way up to Thanksgiving. I was like, "Is it tonight?" So don't blame it on my heart. Blame it on my mind. I had a senior moment because I just got my AARP card last year, Dr. Dyer. Dr. Dyer, I want to stay with you, and we're going to go back to Vince here in a moment. As a black man, where do you see us as a country in 30 years? I'm taking some notes from, your show earlier, because I think people need to understand where we're at.
Well,
and they also, and maybe, is there a way to change the narrative of that? Meaning, like, tell us where you see us in 30 years, and if that's the pandemic, what can we do to change that?
One of the things, the pandemic has cost a lot of lives, right, around the globe, around the United States. But the pandemic, what we call COVID-19, has helped us realize we have work to do in our communities. It has cracked it open. And one of those crack opens, and I don't take the credit for this, but I was talking to a friend of mine, Dr. George Frazier. He was on one of my shows, and he said that we're going to be in a second slavery in 2050 because of the generation and the value economic gap that we have between blacks and everyone else. We lose so much money and our economic dollars out of our community because we don't value ourselves. Now, when I teach trauma and understanding how trauma affects the body, within the body, and it keeps triggering the same chemical response like an addict, that's what trauma does to us. We are enslaved trauma. We have not come out of mental slavery because they keep us in such fearful modes in what we are trying to do. We're always trying to do. We are not just saying to ourselves, we are doing. Even if it was a little bit, like if you look at a child who walks a little bit and falls down, we say there, look, it's walking. But when we as adult black men, we always say we're trying to do, we're going to do. No, we need to give ourselves enough credit to say we are doing. It may be small, it may be large, but you are doing. And so
let me ask you this, Dr. Dyer. So I've never physically met Dr. George C. Frazier, but I know him very well.
Right.
We do a lot of similar things like Power Networking Conference.
Right.
He's more national than I am, but I'm more regional and local here. How can we prevent that happening? That is the pandemic, the way it's going.
Yes.
Do you have a couple of solutions that you can give the black community on what we need to do to prevent that from happening?
The simple answer is network. That's the simple answer. But it's not network, it's doing. There's an action involved. We have to figure out that we're going to do. And if you don't know how to do, then you raise your damn hand and say, I don't know what to do. And that's when we as mentors, as black men, as black community, as a whole, we say, we got you. That's when, that's why when we all lean in, we all win. That's what that is. If we don't lean in, but go ahead, sir.
No, I like what you're saying. I have an idea from you, and I'm going to go to Vince, but I'm going to come back because I'm thinking of the Black Hollywood back in Oklahoma.
Yep.
And I want to talk to you because I know some people that know about bricks and mortars. So maybe during this pandemic, as we see in stores, strip mall close, maybe you and I and Vincent can get together with a great, respectful real estate broker, real estate agent. Shout out to Jackie Mims, Pamela Reed, some folks that I know. Put our money together and open up some stores like Black Hollywood back in Oklahoma before that got burned down, and start investing in ourselves. Because I hear you, but I need a like you say, school to prison pipeline. Well, we need a solution,
right?
All that. So I'm coming back to you, Dr. Dyer, on that one. Vincent, Leggett, my mentor. I want to talk about Blacks of the Chesapeake and everything you've done in Annapolis. I mean, we were sitting down at dinner the other day, and I said, "Why don't you run for mayor for Annapolis?" You said it smooth and eloquently. That would be a step down. And I'm like, man, mayor of Annapolis, Kuta Kinte stepped down in Annapolis. His, I used to work at the Naval Academy, and for the record, when I see Bancroft Hall, it disgusts me because people didn't know that the first slave ships that hit Annapolis was divvying out slaves in Bancroft Hall and sending them over in Baltimore, Vince, over at, what's that place to sell all the food over there?
Over in Fells Point.
Not that one. The one off of Utah Street over there.
Lexington Market. And so what I wanted to remind people, when the slaves came in
to Annapolis from the slave ships, sold right there in Annapolis, and then divvied out over to Lexington Market, which if you could barely find a black business there today, So it's very disturbing to see slaves sold at Lexington Market back in the day, and then the fact that there's no black businesses there. I mean, there were a few. I think outside of the little hot dog stand, there's not too many black businesses there. A lot of Asians, not our people, and that's how we ended up. So, Vince, knowledge us up on your history of Annapolis, how you became like the person, and go into the housing industry. I want Dr. Dyer to hear your housing experience, because you've been helping black families get out of, where they were living in situations. You've helped build up that Annapolis region, and you've worked in the highest authority for housing to help our African Americans. You help build certain, places in Annapolis so they can have better living standards. Can you talk a little bit about your work that you've done in Annapolis as a black man and a black leader over the Housing Authority?
Well, let me just start with circling back through my chapter, Black Families Matter, Calling Men into Action. I opened that chapter up with a quote from one of my favorite men, Frederick Douglass. And Frederick Douglass is one of the bookends of the blacks of the Chesapeake. Mm-hmm. He was born on Maryland's Eastern Shore. And he said that if there is no struggle, there is no progress.
Right.
Those who propose freedom and yet depreciate education are like men who want crops without plowing the field. Mm-hmm. They want rain without lightning and thunder. They want the ocean's majestic wave without the awful war of the waters. And then once all the applause stopped, he went to the second verse. He said, power concedes nothing without a demand. Mm-hmm. It never have, and it never will. And so I just use that as a launch board to address some of the other tangential issues that you brought up. Yes, I've run several multi-million-dollar corporations. I've run several housing authorities. I was president of the 45th largest school system in the United States, and I run the County Board of Education based in Annapolis, the first African-American male to be president of the school board. And I mentioned that not to toot my own horn, but as we talk about the challenges of black men in America, when we talk about the challenges of being able to navigate through the system, whatever it is, whether it's the hood, Wall Street, or Main Street, we have to learn how to navigate it through networking, as Dr. Dyer says, as passing on knowledge, appropriating knowledge, helping people sidestep some of the things that we have gone through. I've seen 67 Christmases. Y'all guys got a few more Christmases to go to catch up with me. And every Christmas, I learned.
Say it, man. Hey, Doc, he just threw us under the bus in a good way.
He sure did.
Nice way we give him bucks.
It can be Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or Christmas. But I've gone around the globe a few more times, and part of the work, my passion has always been working with the elders in the community. As I describe myself as a country boy out of East Baltimore, what that has done for me is one, it reinforces the fact that I am streetwise. Mm-hmm. I mean, Baltimore ain't Hollywood and Vine. They didn't film The Wire in Harlem, Chicago, Baton Rouge, or Mississippi. They filmed The Wire in Baltimore. And half of the streets that was filmed on were in my neighborhood. I knew the alleys better than the streets in Baltimore.
Hey, Vince, hold on one second. Shout out to Jackie Mims that's watching. Shout out to Byron T. Deese who's watching. He's a part of the anthology. Shout out to R. Wesley Webb is in the building.
Hey, Wes.
Not know. Hey, Wes, I would not know this brilliant mind. See, this is the way I got the best job in the world. My family told me to get to know Vince. Wes told me to get to know Dr. Dyer. So shout out to these folks and everybody. Charlamagne McCarter. Oh, wow. They like to hear their name out. Because I know if I'm listening. See, Dr. Dyer gave me a shout out today. And I appreciate that. Oh, Courtney Lee Smith out of Atlanta, Georgia. My sister, she was on the show today. Courtney Lee Smith, thank you so much. Y'all continue to like. Come on, let's get this thing up to 100 people. Charlamagne McCarter, come on, keep liking. Let's get this thing up to 100 people. We're getting ready. We got about 10 minutes left. Byron T. Deese, Wesley Webb, Jackie Mims. Come on now. Come on, y'all. And I'm a marketing guy, so Gerald always tells me, so the brains is Gerald, Dr. Dyer, you, Vince. I'm a networker, connector kind of guy. So, like, Gerald be like, hey, that's my wheelhouse. We talked about certain. So, finish up, Vince, because I do want you to know by the time I was 26, Vince, I've been around the world 3 times. Mm-hmm. 3 times. I mean, I've seen a lot of walks of man. And I just want to say this to make you laugh as we go over to Dr. Dyer. When I was in my 20s, they'd be like, oh, you're just a young buck. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
In my 30s. In my 30s, right? Yeah, you're just a young buck. Yeah, you're right. I was always the youngest guy in the group. They hit like 40, 45. I hit 50. I'm hit 50. And I'll be 52 in a few months. But they were like, you're still a young buck. I'm like, look. I've been on this earth a half a century. Right. You can't call me a young buck. And so, I guess that's not for you, big brother. But I'll be like, look, I'd have been in 2 wars, a couple of wars. I done took some bullets. So, hey, look, as Charlamagne McCarter would say, Charlamagne, the name means king. Charlamagne, he said, he put some respect on my name, damn it. Go ahead, man.
What I would say before you segue over to Dr. Dyer is that education, housing, these are rudimentary things in our community. But as I talk about the environment, environmental justice, not just urban renewal, but urban removal. As we look at gentrification in our community, Dr. Dyer talked about it. Some of my Hebrew friends, I make $1 flip hands 7 times before it leaves the neighborhood.
Right.
I doubt one and out. And so as we try to teach economic empowerment, many of the colleagues in the book, my fellow co-authors, one of the things I would say before you pop over the doctor is that I've read each one of these anthologies, and it's a beautiful model, right, on cooperative economics. Each one of us stowed into a project on a timeline with deliverables, and to have 15 men make the deadlines, checks don't bounce, punch the ticket, we're on a production, write, rewrite, edit, push the go button, get it on the street. I work with watermen that build boats, and they say, Vince, push the boat in the water, then we'll fix the leaks.
Right.
If you got the boat sitting up on the side of the dock trying to figure out whether it's going to float, push it in the water, and we put this project in the water. Come on,
Hey, look, Vince, I forgot to tell you, Dr. Dyer, as we segue over to you, we forgot that to mention, because Vince let us know the other day that he's an admiral. So when the admiral walked in the room, real admiral,
right.
If people know the Navy, when the admiral walked in the room, you stand up.
As we look at
so when the admiral come in, we want to stand up. Vince, we're going to come back to you for closing remarks when men lean in, we all win. Dr. Paul Dyer, I'm going to be honest with you. Paul W. Dyer, my brother, he told me I couldn't call him Doc, and I said I have to because there's not a lot of people that's got that doctor title. See, like I'm an honorary, I got my doctorate degree through an honorary process. This guy, he went the traditional route, and he's so an amazing guy. And so I may call him Paul if we come over to his house and play some spades or bid whist. But it's important to credential him properly, because I told him the other day, I said, how long did it take you to get that bachelor's degree, that master's degree, and that doctorate degree, all the labs, dissertation. I did write a dissertation and all that good stuff as well. But some people don't have to do that with an honorary doctorate degree.
Right.
But I said, please allow me to call you doctor, because the younger people need to know the work that you put in. You know, and he was reluctant, but he bought in and understood the process of all the great hard work, so we can honor him. Dr. Paul Dyer, I just wanted to say, please just spend the last few minutes talking to us of what's the significance of the black man in the home, in the community, in corporate America, and how can we change the narrative? We've been, not you personally, not you, Ben, we've been talking about a lot of the things that's wrong, mm-hmm. but what are the solutions, Dr. Dyer, that we can do to start seeing some progress in the black community?
You know, one of the things I think it's a staple is to be proud. Be proud of yourself. And you spoke that to me the other day. It's like, you be proud of what you have accomplished. And not be prideful, be proudful. You know, there's a difference between boasting of yourself and carrying yourself with pride. And a lot of black men have had to damper themselves to feel like they didn't want to make other people nervous or afraid in the room. So we dimmed our light so we didn't want to put people off. Well, we have to stop thinking that we're putting people off or that we're broken. And if we are broken, own up to it. You know, that's the other thing that we really need to do as black men. We need to own up to our brokenness. We need to own up to our sickness. We need to own up to the things that we have made our mistakes and forgive ourselves. Because forgiveness goes a long way. Because I'm not forgiving others, I'm forgiving myself, not because of where I think I should be, where I think I could be, where I think I need to be, but forgive ourselves and accept that where we are right now is the next step forward. Because that's the one thing a lot of black men don't do. They keep saying, if you hear conversations, I can't wait till I get this. When I get play ball, or when I make that next level, I'm going to do this. Well, you're missing what you are at this moment, who you are. So if you don't accept who you are and be proud of what you are, then you will never have pride even if you get there. And that's the broken part of the black man. They have never had pride of getting there or being here, being right here. And so until we be pride and own our brokenness and own our sickness, we will always stay sick and stay broke.
Dr. Dyer, I'm going to challenge you. I just want to say, in this book is right here. Y'all probably can't see it. And I'm going to piggyback off my big brother, Vince, Frederick Douglass. It's easier to build strong children than repair broken men.
Right.
Listen. I read that quote. It's in all my books. And you're so right when you're talking about these broken men. Okay, if your father was not in your household, that's an old chapter. We can't use that anymore.
Right.
You move on. You don't talk about it. It may have worked in the 70s and 80s. That's why I didn't get that good job.
Right.
Because my dad was not in my home. My dad was not in my home. He was not there. And I figured out a way through my strong mother to be successful, bite my tongue. I was on a call today, and I was very disappointed that a bunch of Caucasian men were talking about the Philadelphia shooting, and this is how it went. Can we continue our business as usual? The National Guard is in Philadelphia.
Yep. Black
Lives Matter people are there.
Yep.
They never talked about a black man was shot.
No.
They just talked about there was some looting and protesting. I spoke up. It was 75 people on the line. I risked my contract and said, hey, that's not an accurate statement. A black man was shot for the 50th time this year, and he had a knife in his hand. You couldn't have not shot him in the leg to detain him, but you shot and killed him. Mm-hmm. And the statistics that you and Gerald talked about earlier, I mean, we do matter. They never said Breonna Taylor's name in the courtroom the other day.
Right.
Look,
right.
I am so pissed. I wrote this book with 14 amazing men. I want to shout their names out. Dr. William D. Scott, R. Wesley Webb, Gerald A. Moore Sr., Andre James, McKinley Toombs, Deion Banks, Stephen LeBroy, Byron T. Deese, Chef Kendall Selby, Charlemagne McCarter, Brian Keith Bailey, Vince Leggett, Wayne Taylor. These are men that you will never see on the 6 o'clock news.
No.
They don't want to see them. They don't want to see you, Dr. Dyer, because are we, you know, hey, how you doing? What did you and Gerald say earlier today? Hey, your Caucasian friend goes, hey, I have a really good black friend. What does that really mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
You have a really good black friend. Because I never say I got a really good white friend.
Never said it.
Or not.
Right.
Never said it. So I will say this to you, Dr. Dyer. I'm going to go over to Vince back. But I want to come back because, guys, I want to hear some solutions on how black men can continue to work together to make this country. So here's the thing. We know Anglo-Saxon men took the Willie Lynch theory, came over here, stole the Indian land, then had African slaves to build it. Damn. You want to talk about economic inclusion.
Right.
Man, I mean,
it's beautiful.
Come on, man. We're working in the corporation buildings that our ancestors built. That the Anglo-Saxon men, have been Fortune 500 companies and all that kind of stuff. So I'm frustrated because I know we're better, but we can't be that black man that like I've never, and I'm just going to say this, 2 things, Vince, I go over you. I've never shopped on Black Friday. I've never owned a pair of Michael Jordans, only because I just didn't want to be a part of that process of what defined me. Now, I'm not saying nothing's wrong with Black Friday. I'm not saying it. But damn. But I will say I have a whole lot of problems with Michael Jordans when you can't afford them, and our black boys, our black girls have been being killed. And yeah, Michael Jordan has been called out. He wasn't talking about it.
That's right.
You know,
and so, I'll give you something else. We're estimated to spend $32 billion on Black Friday. We cannot open up a charter school or put more kids in school or have our own school and teachers, but we'll go out and buy $5 pair of jeans because it's on Black Friday. It is ridiculous. That's the broken mindset I keep talking about. If you don't fix this, they're going to keep shoving out that dollars, and they're not going to, because like Gerald said, black people don't take enough pride in our own black product. They'll say, oh, here it goes again, and what can I get for free, and what can be subsidized? We need to subsidize ourselves.
I agree with you, Dr. Dyer. Vince, take us home. Why should people buy this book when mailing in we all win?
Well, one of the things I would say is that one of the consistent threads that ran through all 15 narratives in this anthology was that we all have ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
We have fell down, we got up. And I think that's part of the take-home message. Don't stay down. I'm a historian. I got appointed and commissioned an admiral of the Chesapeake Bay for bringing to light the contributions of African Americans in the maritime and seafood processing industry. When people ask me, well, Admiral Leggett, do you get a discount at the supermarket? I said, no, I don't. What it does do, it verifies and ratifies a body of work because it's run against all of the history books, all of the literature. Because if they did show people to look like us, they would say crab picker or oyster shucker. No name, no attribution. Mm-hmm. I turned the page, the white waterman, talk about his mama, what his granddaddy did, how big his boat is. Well, I took those images to school, church addicts, fish fries, and said, that's my mama, that's my daddy, and began to lift up their hopes and aspirations, how they took their kids to some of the best colleges and universities in this country, picking crabs and shucking oysters. And they say it's not what we make, but how we utilize what we make.
Right.
And in closing for me, in my study of history, I studied the antebellum South, plantations. But you know, they never had a fence around them. See, I'm going back to Dr. Dyer here. The man didn't have to put a fence around the plantation because once he put it around your mind, you weren't going to run anyway.
That's right.
That's my take-home message.
Look, I'm just playing with StreamYard here. You know, I want to thank you so much, Vince. I'm going to throw it over to Dr. Dyer for closing remarks. I do pray that I can see you tomorrow at Glory Days. I'm going to invite everybody out. I want to invite you out, Dr. Paul Dyer. We have a small social distancing event tomorrow at Lithicum. At the Glory Days, I've met with the owner, and so he's got some complimentary appetizers for us. Wear your mask. Come on out, 6 to 8 p.m. Damon Scott will be in the building, and multimillionaire Mr. Tahib Burke will be in the building with his new financial literacy book. I just want to remind everybody of two things as we get ready to close out with Dr. Dyer. November 6th, meet and greet at the Westin. November 6th, 6 to 9 at the Westin. McKinley Toombs from Chicago will be in from When Men Lean In, We All Win, along with Dr. William D. Scott. Let's pray for these brothers as COVID don't shut their travel plans down. And November 7th, everybody, the Heart Launch. Dr. Dyer, come on out. It's $40 a piece. Bring the beautiful wife. Vince will be in the building. All the brothers from When Men Lean In, We All Win will be in the building. Chef is cooking. He's got his staff ready to go, and it's going to be a great time. Hosted by Dr. Renee Starlin Allen and also Jackie Hollywood Mims. We're going to practice social distancing. No one has caught COVID-19 at Chef's Spot, and we're going to keep it that way because we're safe. Everybody got on gloves, the chefs, everybody. So come on out November 7th to When Men Lean In, We All Win, our hard launch. The virtual launch for Bestseller will happen December 12th, and I challenge Dr. Dyer to write me 1,500 words in the next week or two so we can add them to that compilation if he so desires.
It's on.
You got the last word, so I'm going to mess with you a little bit, sir. Dr. Dyer, I'm going to throw it over to you because I want you to call me about 5-10 minutes when we get off live air. But drop the mic. I got a couple things I want you to just mention, but I want you to drop the mic like Obama. But I would love for you to join our mastermind group. I talked to Vince. I know you coming. Wes is one of our executive members. And to your point, I between the cross collaboration of Wes and yourself, I think we've empowered 10 to 15 men already. And I want to do a show next week with your guys. I got Dr. Woods' number. Is it Danny Woods?
Yeah, David.
Hey, Vince, he introduced me to like 8-9 brothers last week.
All
It
right.
just blessed my heart, and I figure that's how we're gonna get ahead. We're gonna have to take care of it ourselves. I think the most important thing that was said on this call tonight was that the money does not change hands in the Black community multiple times like it does in the Asian community, Indian community. So we're going to have to do that. We got to trust each other. Before I throw it over to Dr. Paul W. Dyer, is that a lot of the reasons why we don't trust each other, everybody, is because of the seasoning. They call it seasoning. When Black slaves, they put this little thing over your mouth, right? And they would keep the dark-skinned folks away from the light-skinned folks. They would make the big black buck so weak where he had to really just say yes to his Caucasian Anglo-Saxon master. The division of Black people started as slavery. And we have to learn to trust each other. And when you tell your Black business person that you have a business, you got to show up on time and do the work properly, everybody. Okay? You know, I'm reading this book right now, excuse me. This is to impress Dr. Paul Dyer and also Vince. I'm reading this book right now. It's called Black Tax.
Yeah.
This right here, it just talks about leaving your family with generational wealth. Don't leave them debt. But also it talks about how we're taxed every day. We got to show up on time. All that pressure is being a Black person. Go get this book right here, y'all. Sean D. Rochester, he's worth $500 million. It talks about everything that Dr. Dyer's talking about. The Black tax. How Black people are taxed every day for being better than the white person. Go get it. Go get it right now. Go get it. That's the book I'm reading, because we have to be better as people. Dr. Dyer, take us home. Spend as much time as you need, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes. Give us something in this pandemic to give us hope that in 2015 we're not what we're projected to be. Take us home, Dr. Dyer.
You know, first, my heart is racing when you asked me to be part of the mastermind group. It's thank you. You know, we don't do things to get pat on the back. We do things to make a difference.
That's right.
But when someone recognizes you in your community, in your efforts, on your job, and say, hey, I like what you're doing, that's when you say the fruit is, the tree is bearing fruit. And I said this earlier with Gerald Moore, is that my mother had, it was last night, because I host a show called Voices to be Heard. It's about the abuse that we have in our community and how it doesn't speak up. One of the things is that my mother used to say, if you're going to grow as a strong tree, then you must bear fruit. And if you bear fruit, then people will eat. And when they eat, in the middle of that fruit, they will drop seed. And that seed will too grow into the tree. I've always had that, I've always felt that way in my life. It's not so much doing something for something, but it's to bear fruit. Because if we don't bear fruit, then nobody eats. It's going back to Frederick Douglass, the great educator, and I happen, one of the person that reminds me so much of Frederick Douglass is Dr. Cornel West, right? And I had the pleasure of visiting with him and sitting with him for many hours, and he really said he said many things because he talks, but there was one thing he said that resonated and still vibrates every day with me. Until we become we will never be us. And that means all of it, all the brothers and sisters, until we become an we will never be us. And people can look at that and say, are you just talking about your black people and this people? If once you start putting that in your head, you're already lost. But I tell you what, we can never be in the we because we don't value us.
That's right.
So we even take ourselves out of it. So when we talk about solutions, my main solution is this. If you don't understand your troubles, you got to ask for help. Ask for help. Because we do not know the house you live in, the room you live in, the lights that not on, the food you don't eat. There are programs out here that many people take advantage of except black people. Because we don't know if you're in trouble until you come to us. Because we're not knocking on your doors. And we shouldn't have to. And don't be so damn prideful saying, oh, I don't need your help. The hell you do. I need your help, Dr. White. I need your help, Mr. Vincent. I need your help. Why? Because I want your help. Because until we become strong together, we're lost. We will stay on that ship and they will drown us until they get what they want. Because they're already getting what they want. We need to get what we deserve. There's a difference.
Amen. Dr. Dyer, you deep. I was talking to Jackie Mims the other day, and she said how brilliant is Vincent O. Leggett. And if you listen to Vince speaks slow and carefully. And I learned so much from both of you all in the past 48 hours, past week. We got to do this again.
Yeah.
I thank you, brothers. I'm going to call you in about 2 minutes, Dr. Dyer. I'll give you some information. Hey, Vince, I met you. Don't let Dr. Dyer beat you in the mastermind group. Don't let him beat you. Don't let him beat you, Admiral. And what happens is we cross-connect networks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
the 100 Black Men of Wesley Webb has got this platform together by way of the Mastermind Group. Think about if we add your network, Dr. Dyer, to this platform, along with Vince. Now you got 50 brothers, 100 brothers across the country.
Right
after the pandemic, we on a plane. Tampa, Atlanta, San Antonio, the whole Alamo, and I call it San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston. And for my brothers, you all have written some great books. I just want to say shout out to when men lean in, we all win. All of you brothers, man. You know, to God be the glory. To God be the glory. God bless your families. Everybody get out there and vote.
Yes, vote.
And I see y'all in person. I pray that I see you tomorrow, Vince. I pray I see you tomorrow, Dr. Dyer.
Well, I won't be there tomorrow because I'm doing a breast cancer fight for breast cancer. So we got an event tomorrow night. I've already dedicated my time to fight breast cancer.
Right.
There you go.
That's all right. Because guess what? The next thing I was going to say by the sound of my voice in the name of Jesus. Because by the time I see y'all next time after tomorrow, which I know I won't see you, it's going to be November 6th at the meet and greet at the Westin.
That's right.
And November 7th. And we're going to have a new president.
Yeah. All right.
Come on. Come on. That's that Obama lead in. We're going to have a new president. And then, you know, obviously, and I just want to say this to both of you all. 2021 is going to be tough. The economy's going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough. We're going to have to do a lot of things, guys. A lot of maybe corporate sponsorship will not be available. Trump did everything he could to repeal, everything that Obama did. And so everything that Trump was able to, he started off with a great economy. Everything that Obama put in place, he's ruined all that. So 2021 going to be rough. And I know we're going to come out of this pandemic in the spring, early summer, so we can go on tour, sell our books, and have speaking engagements. So y'all start buying your plane tickets right now. San Diego, LA, San Francisco.
Here we go.
It's happening, everybody. And listen, everybody, I want to thank y'all for showing up tonight. This is not my regularly scheduled program, but I had to bring it in. When men lean in, we all lean in. Amen. So I appreciate you guys. I'll see y'all November 7th at Chef Kendall's amazing venue. Food is off the chain. I don't even know what the menu is going to be like. $40 gets you a full menu and also one drink. And then there's a birthday cake for Vincent Leggett's VIP guest tonight. And I'm bringing some stallion. Look, Chef wanted to name this drink after the president's going out, and I said, no, we don't want to be vulgar like that. No. We're better. What we're going to call it is Chef Kendall's Special, whatever that drink is, to celebrate Biden and Kamala, first African-American sister to be vice president. I sat out there, and this is to impress my big brother Vince. I sat out there for 50 minutes the other day at North County High School, and I saw a lot of Trump signs and people trying to shake my hand. And I'm a really nice guy, but don't pitch me off. Don't just leave me alone.
Right.
Boy, they were out there trying to act like they know me. Just go away. As a matter of fact, Vince, it was a Republican guy that helped put Daryl in jail. Grasso was out there greeting people, man. Grasso, of all people. They called Glen Burnie a ghetto of Baltimore. You know what I'm saying.
But listen here, Doctor, when I know you're trying to sign off, but when you and Hollywood Mims asked me about being the mayor, and I said it would be a downgrade. Let me clarify that for people who may be aspiring politicians.
Excuse me.
One thing I like in East Baltimore, that power is never sitting on the throne. Power is all around the throne. And just listen to Dyer, listen to you, reading the information in our book from our other co-author. It's not about the titular head. It's us working together.
Right.
Is what power is.
Right.
What the President of the United States or the President of the dog pound. It's men and women like us on this call tonight, on this viewing tonight, is where the power is, because it's the cord the multi-strung cord that holds the rope, that holds the anchor. And that's who we represent. Blacks of the Chesapeake is what I'm talking about.
Well, look, Doc, I call you Dyer. Everybody's a doctor, lawyer, whatever the case may be. Vince, meet me. We can read. I got a lot more books in. We can take those other books back. So this is the new published version. All right. And so we can recycle the ones that you have. Listen, everybody, I want to thank you all for joining the broadcast. Dr. Paul Dyer, God bless you, my brother.
God bless.
You make us all, brother, better. Stay with us. I'm going to take us out of the studio. Vincent Leggett, you make us better. Facebook, I'm saying goodbye to y'all, but I'm going to keep my brothers in the studio. God bless y'all. We'll see you. Okay, we are not live anymore. I took us out the studio.